our partners, Phil Stringer. He, in my opinion, is leading the industry in AI, especially in the real estate space. And he has given us some really great tools. If you've ever had the chance, Phil Stringer, he, in my opinion, God, that's an annoying voice.
Well, it's your voice.
I know. He is really leading the way, and he was so gracious to give us some of his tips and tricks and things like that. So Anna actually just dropped in the chat box his buyer prediction tool. So I would love, Anna, if you can open with that, share your screen, show what this buyer prediction tool is, and then kind of run into our avatars and how we're going to use ChatGPT to really set us apart. So go ahead,
Yes.
Anna, take it away.
This is so cool. So I use this on a lot of my listing presentations because I think one of the big things that we're looking for with sellers in particular, and this goes really well with expireds, people that have some on market experience, because they start to understand how important it is not just to have people through the house, but have the right people through the house, if that makes sense. And so one of the coolest things that Phil's ever shared with us is this buyer prediction tool. So you do get like 1 or 2 hits of this for free before you got to log in and pay for it. So I'm just going to use my free version, but I can go in here and say, hey, look, I'm going to be selling what's a house that we have on the market at 308 Cherry Street in Fuquay Varina. Oops, let me let you in. Fuquay, oh, I did something wrong. Sorry, people keep trying to come in. 27526. And this is listed at 365, 123. And so I can hit submit. And this is a custom GPT that Phil has written. And basically it gives you this delicious description of who it is that's going to buy this house. Let me see if I can get it to pull up. I have it actually in my GPT. Okay. So it's going in, it's giving you an ideal buyer persona for the property located at 308 Cherry Street, priced at 365. This area, notably Fuquay Marina, is part of the greater blah, blah, blah. You can literally copy and paste this and put it into your listing docs to show them who it is that you're looking for and how you're going to do ancillary marketing in order to try to find this person, right? So we always talk about where some of your PPC leads are coming from. Obviously, you know, it's not a client potentially clicking on a specific property link. It's someone that's looking at schools in Wake County, or it's someone that's looking at schools in Beaufort County, or someone that's looking at boat ramps in Beaufort County. We know that people are looking for information outside of specific homes because there's a motivation to be in that area. And so this is a really good place to show you, hey, where should I go put my ancillary marketing in? For instance, 308 Cherry Street happens to be down the street from the #1 magnet school in the country, Lincoln Heights Elementary. I know that because my kid goes there. It's so exciting. But that's something that I know I can now go run advertising on that's not specific to Cherry Street, but might bring me a buyer that fits this persona. One of my favorite parts about this is that Phil built it to actually highlight pain points, because we know in sales, if we can solve pain points for people, we can convert at a much higher level. So this is some of the language in your marketing that you should be able to speak to: the competitive real estate market, balancing budget constraints with desired property attributes. I've had this conversation 8 times yesterday. People are car shopping right now. They're looking at price and they're looking at features, and whoever has the best price and the most features are winning. So that's somewhere that you're going to want to be able to highlight your property. Concerns about long-term maintenance and property taxes, managing the stress of relocation or first-time home buying. These are then going to give you ways to actually go in and address those pain points. Literally tells you, develop targeted messaging that assures buyers the potential of financing assistance and affordability options. Well, guess what we did? On this particular property, we started advertising that it was a $1,000 down to get in the house. I wouldn't have thought of that because I would have let the market dictate due diligence. But instead, we put a big old sign in the front yard that says, get in this house, $1,000 deposit, right? And it's worked. We focused on the 3-2-1 buy down, right? And what could we advertise a low rate for with that? And so we knew, mostly because we use this tool, that this was a problem that this demographic was looking for, right? So anyways, it gives you a lot of information that you can go use in your ancillary marketing on a property. And I will tell you that I do believe that your sellers will eat this up. And especially if you have properties that have kind of more unique features to them, it will go in, it will really take a look at what that house has to offer and make sure that there's a good marketing path forward. So I think this is one of the coolest things that we have in our business. You can always go into ChatGPT yourself and kind of do a little bit of workaround, but this is a prompt that Phil has written specifically to go find this buyer persona who thinks that's cool, because I think it's really freaking cool.
How do you guys feel this could help you in like going into a listing presentation, like using this before you even go into the listing presentation, integrating this into the presentation, showing them how you've done it, who you're going to target? I mean, who feels like this is a tool that they would use and maybe how they would use it differently? Anybody?
No, I mean, I think I would use it.
You should use it. It's awesome. I have a couple examples of some emails. I'll try to send one of those in a follow-up email today, just showing you how we've used it, kind of expanded on it a little bit within our GPT, and I will send you one of those emails that we send to sellers. Again, I think you use it in the listing presentation, but it's also a really good, it's a good follow-up touch point as well to be able to send to them and say, hey, remember, this is who we're looking for. This is what we think that buyer pool is going to fall. So I'll send a follow-up email that we send to our sellers that goes specifically into income, things like that we know that that are going to be important for us understanding who our buy box is. Questions there?
Awesome. I think this is great. I think that for me, I would like to have it going into the listing appointment. I'd even probably put a section into my, presentation about how I've targeted their buyer prior and not just speaking to like what I will do, but what I've already done. So I think this is an amazing tool and it makes me feel a lot more confident being able to set myself apart because that's the name of the game, right? We're all kind of doing the same things as we grab information and we need to be able to find that tool that sets us apart. So I think this is great. And thank you so much to Phil for sharing that. So Anna, keep going.
Yeah, I was just going to show you a couple of things that I have written in my chat GPT. And actually today I literally was like, hey, chat GPT, I was like, I'm going to talk to some people about some custom GPTs today. Can you give me some ideas of maybe some things that I haven't written that I should share with them? And of course, chat GPT was more than happy to show me a few things. So I will share with you. This is one of my go-tos. So these are my custom GPTs that I've built right here. And my Amplify Influence coach is I basically have taken all of the a lot of PDFs, a lot of information that I got from Renee Rodriguez, who is, I would call one of my communication coaches. I've loaded all of that into my chat GPT and I have said, hey, when I come into here, I want to use the principles and I want to use the way that Renee Rodriguez coaches to help me craft my content. So I hate to like burst the bubble and like be like, haha, that's not my natural voice. It is my natural voice because ChatGPT has listened to me talk and listened to me write now for months and months and months. And so it really has learned my voice. And I think what I post is very organic. But for a time saving, instead of sitting there and feeling I've got to draft this perfectly worded email to our database, or I've got to make sure that I get the essence of exactly what it is I want to share, ChatGPT can speed that process up and do it for me. And so in here, I can go in here and I can say, hey, I need a Facebook post. We are doing a conference in Atlantic Beach area in June. It will be full of great speakers. I mean, I can go in here, I can type out anything that I want, and it will go ahead and start just knowing what I'm trying to do. I don't have to say, use Renee Rodriguez's thing, because that's already built into my custom GPT here. Let's just see what it comes up with just off the cuff without a lot of information.
I think the point of this as well, especially if you follow Phil and we're actually, is he doing a webinar and we're
Yeah, I'm
dropping?
going to drop the 2 p.m. webinar in for you guys to
So
straightforward.
he's doing a 2 p.m. webinar today, and I really highly encourage you to jump on. But I think the point of this is that when people get into ChatGPT and they're dabbling with it, they give it some information and then they feel maybe it doesn't sound like them or it's not exactly what they were looking for. And it's because your GPT hasn't been trained. And we're going to go into talking about the avatar as well and creating kind of that file on who is the avatar and who are you speaking to. So like Anna has her amplified influence coaching thing here. So she doesn't have to give it all that much information because she's already trained this thread to understand what she's looking for. And so a lot of people will kind of have that drunk monkey to say, well, this isn't me and it doesn't sound like me, but it is. It is her because she trained it to understand who she is, her thoughts, what she's thinking, all of the things.
I used this same GPT the other day when I was and I'm sure you guys saw my post on Facebook. So again, I'm not trying to like burst the bubble or be like I'm not real. I'm just showing you like what I was able to do. This is like stream of consciousness, which is how I write, it's how I think, it's how I do everything, just stream of consciousness. And so I literally like just was sitting on the couch and I started typing into my chat GPT. I used my Amplify Influence coach to do this. And I said, hey, I just want a polished version of this. And literally, guys, I didn't have to alter it. I didn't have to correct it. I didn't do anything. It knows me that well. And the best sentence that I got out of it was, it's not finished, but it's full. And it's so funny because Allison commented and was like, it's not finished, but it's full. Like that's exactly the sentiment I had. I just in that moment like wasn't like, okay, here I am, a professional copywriter ready to inspire. And I will tell you the engagement on that post, and I'm sure a lot of you saw it because it performed really well, and I'm glad it did. It's a memory I'm glad I can always hang on to. But I mean, even on for Instagram, over 60 likes, I think 150 or so likes on my Facebook page, the exact same post, a lot of comments, a lot of 178 and 21 comments, a ton of conversations about how excited people were that we had a place at the beach, which opened up conversations for business referral. But I would not have gotten this in that moment and gotten to enjoy the moment if I'd have been really worried about making sure I got my copyright correct. But over time, ChatGPT, man, it gets me. And when this came out, I was like, this is the perfect example of why we say AI is not going to replace us. And this is what Phil says, AI is not going to replace you, but it is the agent using AI is going to replace the agent that is not. So I do think that like if your ChatGPT is a couple months behind where it probably should be as far as getting to know you, it's time to spend a little bit of time with your buddy chat and start talking to it, sharing what you have. I mean, you can see I use it all day, every day. I mean, I have so many different things that I come to. This is the first place I go, and I hope it will become yours. Now you can do more tech-driven stuff. So I want to show you some of the options it gave. The listing copy genie, I have one of these. This is easy. You can literally take that property checklist that you have. You can put the checklist as a PDF into ChatGPT, right? You can load it in as a doc and literally say, hey, I want my MLS description. I want 3 social media blurbs. You can put in, in fact, I'm about to do it after I get off this call. I've got 3 market sheets. Actually, I guess, Allison, do I have time to just run it real quick here so they can see it? Take 2 seconds.
And what we'll do, guys, is we'll follow up as always with an email with things that you can copy paste, links to Phil's stuff, but also things you can copy paste that you can put into your GPT to start training the GPT to do these things for you.
So I've got here's some data that I sent out to our people this morning and said, hey, what could you do with data that looks like this? This is my newsletter GPT that I've built. It helps me create with flyers that I can send out, right, to our database.
So anybody that's not following along, especially in the Beaufort MLS, this looks the same. We can go into our MLS intranet stats, okay? And scroll back up to the top. What she did was she took her MLS intranet stats here. We have these in the Beaufort market too. She input those into GPT. So she pushed the plus button, she added them into Chat GPT, and then she asked it to analyze this and give it, information that she can like disperse to her newsletters to our clients or social media, etc. And this is what it created, just for anybody that's kind of starting at maybe
yeah.
a first level.
And this GPT, if you look at it, it's real estate newsletter flyer, because every month we do a printed newsletter. And so I got tired of having to come up with the graphs and do the things. And so this one, so I want to show you this difference. This one knows exactly what it needs to build. It knows it needs a front and back flyer. It's giving me the content that I need. It's giving me the tables that I need. It's giving me like, you see how it's more infographic written. Now watch this. Now watch if I go over here to a different GPT that I've built for a different purpose, right? And I go ahead and screenshot these. I have no idea what it's going to do with this. So this will be a fun experiment we can all do. And let's just say I need a social media post with this data driving a argument for buyers to consider Harnett County real estate. All right. And it's going to use this is now going to use more of that Renee Rodriguez influential, persuasive kind of verbiage, right? And so you get a whole different product, right? You get something completely different. And then I can say, I want it in an email, black text, white space, not no emojis, right? Maybe you're like, oh, I can't stand that. Great. Here. Now, how long before would it have taken to create this kind of content? It would have taken all morning, especially with my ADHD. So this is this is why they're saying if you have the idea, or you're surrounded by people that can give you the idea, this is going to let you execute at a much faster pace. So look at the difference. Again, this knew it was creating a newsletter, right? Sorry. This knew it was creating a newsletter. This gave me a headline. It gave me a pro tip, how to describe it, what to put it in there, versus this one that was meant to be much more influential, right? And it knew social media needed to format this way. And then when I'm able to say, hey, I want it into an email, look how it changed the format of that. So this is really, really, really powerful stuff. And if you're just using ChatGPT to like correct your grammar or do whatever, and it's not learning what it is that you actually want it to accomplish, I think this is a place that you're really missing. I'm going to put the chat, Phil's link for a seminar or webinar today at 2:00 into the chat. I'm a joke. This is a joke compared to what you'll see at 2:00. So please know, like, I'm not gatekeeping anything. I'm just telling you, if you want to go to the source is going to be available to you at 2:00 today. I can't say enough good things about Phil. He literally has never charged us to speak at one of our events. He's always been a huge supporter of Agents Empowered. So I'd love to see you guys go support him today because he is a wealth of knowledge.
Does anybody have any questions? Because we are going to, Anna, I think the big thing too was creating a thing where we could ask ChatGPT to create our avatar. So I want to make sure that we give them that. And we can just show you guys kind of quickly, like, and you don't even have to have a thread made or anything. We can show you just starting from a raw new thread. We want to find our avatar. And so does anybody have any questions while we get that set up? No questions. Nobody else's mind's blown, because I think that like the buyer presentation part of it is just going to be, I mean, the
shower.
part of it's going to be amazing.
I was going to ask where the link is, but I see it now. Thank
Okay,
you.
yep. And I'll make sure we put it in our email too. And then she said, can you add me to your email follow-up notes from the chat GPT? Yeah, well, if you're on this, Brandy, yeah, if you're on this, you should be registered and you should get our emails automatically. And if you're not, let us know, because you probably unsubscribed somewhere along the way and you're not getting spammed by us, because we love to spam people. Anna, you got 3 minutes to run that through, just to show anybody that's kind of new to ChatGPT, like just starting it and training it.
For sure, dog. For sure. Okay,
I would start from
you want a client avatar?
Yeah, I would start from a total new project, just so, because they'll be starting from a new project.
Yeah. So if you want to learn how to create these avatars, right, or these GPTs, it's probably somewhere you've never worked before, because you just keep going. You got to have the paid version too, guys. Come on, like it's like $20 a month is the most powerful tool. You gotta buy the full version. But you go over to, you wouldn't have these things, but you'd see the little 4 dots in GPTs. And this is where the custom GPTs exist. And this is what a lot of people don't understand exists. There's all kinds of things that are in here that will absolutely up your game. So sometimes you might actually just be looking for something that someone's already built. So I'm going to go show you the avatar, but just to, if you're like curious and you're like, man, like what else is out there? People have written a bunch of chat GPTs in the real estate space, and you can go in here and they've given them to you to just use, right? So 100% go search that today. But if I wanted to create a new avatar, or sorry, a new GPT, I would say avatar finder. Did I spell that right? No, I don't think so. There we, is that right? It looks really bad capitalized. Can someone please validate my feelings here? Avatar.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. I want to be able to go in and identify, right, who my ideal client is. The GPT should use as much knowledge available to help us understand buyer and seller demographics. And see how you just kind of vomit here in the triangle area of North Carolina, where our team, and they already know this team primarily sells, right? Then, sorry, I'm trying to move my zoomy. You can go in here, and this is where you can actually upload files, right? So for instance, and I don't know if this is going to help my GPT or not, because I'm not really sure, but again, I've got these data points, right? So I can upload those. I could upload past reviews from Zillow. I could go take any kind of data point that I have that I feel like helps my GPT understand what it is I do. I can tell them to go look at our web page. I will tell them to go look at all the things, right, to help create this. And basically you can go in here and you can build a GPT. You can make it so that only you can see it, anyone with the link can see it, or someone in that store that I was just showing you can see it, right? So I'll just make it only for me. Again, I haven't fed it enough information to probably have all the kits and caboodles here. But this is where, I can now go in and say, I am running a Facebook ad in the Patriots Bluff neighborhood where we have a new listing coming in Fuquay Varina. Help me figure out that avatar to market to. And like, again, you would have put way more in, right? But look at this, like, look how real this data is. Look how real the data is.
It also goes to show like this is a narrative for your buyers. It's a narrative for your listing appointments and your sellers. And if your sellers, if your homes aren't selling, like if you're in our area and we're seeing a higher days on market, you can analyze what's going on and have intelligent conversations that kind of create you as the authority. That's the word that Anna and I keep pinging over and over and over the last few months. Is like, are you the authority in your market? Are you understanding the market? And if your answer is no, I don't, then get in here and play around for 2 hours and you will. You'll understand who, what, when, where, why. Because if you can't answer those questions to your buyers and sellers or as team leaders to our agents, then we're not doing our job and we're not the authority in our industry. So I think this is really amazing. Does anybody have any questions on that? Because we're going to do kind of a quick fire on PropStream.
I have a dumb question. So I
No,
always
then.
thought avatar was like a person that looks like you. That's a cartoon character.
Yes. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay.
What we're saying here though is we're saying it's the persona of the person that we're looking for. So one of the
Okay.
best examples I ever got from this was Amy Gregory, who's amazing at social media. Bye, Brittany. Amazing at social media coaching. She knows her avatar is a real estate agent who is also a mom who wants to work more limited hours in the real estate field and still make a lot of money without the pressure and the path to grow a very, 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 very big business. She knows that's who she's talking to. I like Amy a lot. When Allison and I hear her speak, she doesn't resonate to us because we do not fit her avatar. She knows she's not speaking to high level team leaders. She is speaking primarily to a different type of person. So think about avatar as being kind of a set of descriptions that or beliefs that someone hold so that you know that you're reaching that person and you have that person identified.
So it's really your demographic and your audience. Okay.
Yeah, like Janet, we all know that mine are men the age of 55 to 75. Like that is, looking to buy their retirement home. Like you can create who you were speaking to, and that's me for my clientele. But me as a team leader, I have a different avatar that I'm speaking to. Anna's the same way. When she was in real estate, it was different versus when she's a team leader and it's different. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Anna and I's avatar are agents that are wanting to level up, that are wanting to grow, that are wanting to collaborate and bring, come into a community, and make more money to create their lives by design. So you can create those, put them into ChatGPT. It'll help you understand who you're talking to and how to speak to them so that your message is heard. Make sense?
Yes.
Anna, do you have the ability to let me share real quick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Brandy, yeah, absolutely. I mean, data's, and I said this on my live this morning, like data is also very subjective. So like people can look at some of the same numbers and come up with different things. I mean, I think you have to still know your local. This is why AI is not replacing you. I mean, I said that earlier, like AI is not replacing you. It still needs your oversight. It still needs your local expertise to say, hey, that doesn't look right, or that does look right, or I think this should be tweaked. So I think that's the magical part of it, is like, let this do the rest of it. And then, yeah, go in there and look at those numbers and be like, hey, I don't think that seems like that's on point with what I know to be true. Go fact check it, correct it, and then tell people, hey, I fixed ChatGPT today. It's not taking over the world. There's no need to be anxious about that.
Okay, you ready to rock and roll into prop stream?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen? Anna?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So guys, if you don't have prop stream, I'm going to do a very high level, like quick analysis on this just to show you. And again, if we need to do a bigger, deeper dive into this, or you want to call me directly, please let me know. But I use prop stream. There are a lot of options here on sources to use. I think, Anna, you use Mojo
I
Dialer.
use PropStream for more of what you're about to talk about. I use Mojo when I know I have a targeted specific area. PropStream is much more powerful at helping you find sellers or homeowners in certain circumstances, whereas Mojo, I think, is just good for grabbing geographic areas.
Cool. So prop stream is, I'm going to use a house that I own, 1301 Charles Street as an example. So I wanted to put it in here and I wanted to see this area. From a high level, you can say, okay, look, I got this listing and I want to send a mailer out, maybe the golden letter or a just listed, just sold, whatever you want to do. And you can create a list very easily. Love that journey for us, that there must be some kind of filter here. Oh, this is why. So I had already filtered it, so I'm going to go back one step. If I want to go look for high equity in this area, this is how I created. I went to 1301 Charles. I found my area that I want to prospect. I created my perimeter here.
Can y'all see her screen? I can't.
No.
Try again.
Okay.
It's okay.
How do I? Okay, let's try this. Here we go. Here we go. Sorry, I tried to
There
confirm.
you go. Good.
Wonderful. I'm going to start over. Give me a second. I'm just going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to search a property, right? So I'm searching a property that I own. So if the first thing I want to do is create my boundary. So I'm going to use a smaller boundary here. And let's say I want to use a golden letter or I've got buyers in your area. You can kind of decide through ChatGPT what your message is going to be. So if I'm going to create this boundary here, I can then search the properties based on, I want to know everyone with high equity. So if these are the list here, there's 107 that came up that are high equity, I can take this list, I can add it to a list, create a new list. Let's say, so I'm going to save this list, and that's going to be target. I would then go into a circle prospecting playbook that we will send you, and most of you already have it. I would also go into ChatGPT and ask, based on this demographic, based on this area, what should my messaging be? Because I'm going to do a handwritten letter or I'm going to do a circle prospecting letter to this area. And it can create your entire campaign build out for what your message to these sellers are going to be. You can also then go through and say, I want to do the exact same thing for vacant properties, for properties that might have liens on them. And the bigger you make this, you can also look for bank owned and pre-foreclosures, right? And so if I wanted to start over and I wanted to do a different property, I can just keep adding to my list and I can keep expanding. And so if I wanted to come over here and kind of create this same thing in a different area, I can just add it to the list. And so if I look here, I can see there are no pre-foreclosures, there are no bank owned, but there are 5 different vacant properties. And there are also 143 with high equity. So I can then go into here, I can go back and add this to my list that I had high equity. And so you can see here all of our different lists that we've got. This helps you create the beginning of your funnel. Anna's done trainings on this on the way that we do lead generation. This is a very high level funnel for lead generation. So I can kind of show you guys how to use this. Does anybody have any specific questions? My advice would be to dive in, right? And just start like pulling list and figuring out who you're going to target, and then going back into your chat GPT, giving it this information and asking it to help you create your letters and your campaigns to start your sales funnel through this contact information. Does anybody have any questions on this?
I do. And this might be a silly question.
No such
So
thing.
with all this information, then are you then using it for lead gen
Yep.
and,
So
or calling or door knocking or whatever it might be you're doing?
So for instance, I want to go to high equity and Pigeon Point, which is the first list that I pulled, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you just quickly how to do it. But let's say I have a list here. This is the list I pulled. I'm going to select all of these contacts, and then I'm going to go to skip tracing. And I'm not going to go through this because I've already purchased this list, but I'm going to go to next. I'm going to pull the skip tracing on it. Once you pull the skip tracing on it, you will go and it will give you a list of addresses and phone numbers. Some will tell you like, are they on the do not call list? It gives you all of this information. Okay. So if you want, you can then export this list and put it into for me, and it probably does this a little different. We would put this into a pond in our follow-up boss. I would start by dripping emails, and then I would do specific letters based upon what my search was. I'm going to cancel out of this just so that we don't have this on, with people's contact information. That list can then be exported, and then you can start to go through the list and how you're going to use it as lead generation. Are you going to do your follow-up plans via calls for 3 weeks? Are you going to put them on a 555 campaign, put them on drip campaigns via emails? Are you going to do handwritten letters? I think you need to touch them in all ways. And this is where what Anna just taught you through ChatGPT really helps, because if you give the system the information and what you're trying to achieve, which is I am targeting high equity homeowners in the downtown Beaufort, South Carolina market. My goal is to get the listing and set an appointment. I need a, handwritten letter, an email campaign that's a 3-week drip campaign, and I need a script for when I call them. ChatGPT is going to give you all of that information. So now you know exactly what to do because you know who your avatar is, which are high equity homeowners in the downtown Beaufort market. And the reason we did Anna first and this one second is because you're going to use that same system that she just taught you on to give you exactly the message that you're speaking to these people about. Does that make sense, Kelly?
Yes, yes. And also too, I was just thinking like you could use this for like, let's say you have an open house and you
Right.
want to circle prospect in that little area, letting them know like I don't know, like it's another way to like reach out to them without using the white pages, maybe.
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, it's like 12 cents per contact. And so instead of going
Oh,
piece
okay.
by piece, and going BC Gov for the Beaufort people, going BC Gov, then going to White Pages and finding their phone number. This is a lot more leveraged. It's like 12 cents a contact, which is actually pretty cheap. And you can just make your list, use your funnel, get them into your follow-up boss, and then start the contact and start the campaign. So it skips like 5 steps to get you into the race faster.
Love it. Love it. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Does it give you like number of bedrooms and baths that the house has?
Yeah, it would Anna and I are trying to make sure we're like staying on our time frames. I can do an entire training on this. You can look for age groups, you can look for income levels, you can do beds, baths, you can narrow this thing down so much. But again, I think sometimes on Zooms like this, it's more or less like you get on the high level, you decide, is this something that you kind of want to look into? And then for the people that would want like a deeper training on it, we can obviously offer that.
Big overarching concept here is this is a way to get your database so that you're not waiting for contacts to come in. You are proactively adding to your database and you're doing it with some method to the madness. So you don't just have a bunch of random people. I don't know how real estate agents sell real estate without literally having systems like this where they're bringing contacts into their database to start working. I don't get it. I don't understand what we're doing. You cannot be waiting around for someone to enter your database. You have got to start placing people into your database.
The biggest thing that people are missing in real estate is lead generation. And I think a lot of times people think I've got to sit here and pound the phones for 2 hours. And it's like, well, I do think you need to pound the phones for 2 hours, but I think you have to know who, what, when, why, how. Like, who are you calling? What are you calling them for? Like, you've got to have a method to the madness. And so we do want you in your database. We do want you making the phone calls, but you've got to have a system behind, am I circle prospecting for an open house? Am I looking for high equity, sellers in the Pigeon Point area or in the neighborhood of, fallen trees in Fuquay or whatever it is, right? And so once you become more focused on these segments and these groups, and then you become more systematized, you will see results because your conversations are going to be better because you have a point to the conversation, not just a, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? You know what I mean?
Do you recommend that like one day you do like you just said, maybe like you're looking for high equity people. Then the next day you do like expireds. Then the next day you do for sale by owners. Like, do you recommend kind of going around like that, or do you think of like focusing more on one thing?
I think it just depends on who you are and how your brain works, right? Like when I was doing this at a high level, I did for sale by owners every Tuesday and Thursday. I did expireds every Monday and Wednesday. And on Fridays, I did a follow-up on all the expireds and for sale by owners that I did Monday through Thursday that I did not reconnect with. That was the first thing I did. And then I did follow-up emails with everyone I did connect with. It was very systematized until I got my business really good and bulked up and I had 50 listings and I was doing the things. And then I added another pillar into my business, which would be, okay, now I have all of these listings, right? Because before when I was a brand new agent, I had nothing. So I did all the work. I used the for sale by owners and the expires. I was very systematized and strategic behind it. Once I then got that business, I wanted to keep that going because I didn't want to plateau. Then I added on the next hour, I added on circle prospecting because I got the listing. Now I need to circle prospect it. Then all of a sudden, the next thing that happens in that mode, Kelly, is that those listings go under contract. Well, now I need to make sure I'm doing my under contract and just sold postcards and follow-up phone calls and email databases, right? And so I think sometimes we want to eat the elephant. And really the goal is that the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And you just have to chip away at it, right? So you need to start somewhere. I really like for sale by owners and expireds because I always had a purpose. I knew they were marketing their house to sell. I knew they had the intention to sell, and it made me really comfortable to call them and connect with them. Once I got really good at that, I then started building my pillars on top of it. And then you just have to stay so focused and consistent.
Okay, thanks.
I hope that was a good answer, but
Yes.
that's my answer. Okay, all right. Anybody else got anything?
Mary Petroni asked, what platform are you using to pull FSBOs and expireds?
FSBOs, I used to go through, this was back in the old day. I used to go to Zillow every morning and just do for sale by owner. We also have militarybyowner.com. So I would go through that. And so we're a smaller market. We didn't have that many, maybe 2, 3 a week. And then expireds, I would just go every day and I would look back through and put them into my CRM through MLS. But there are systems that you can do that make that a lot easier. I think that like Blake Gruel's done a training on that. We can find that and reshare it in our follow-up emails. But there are systems that make that a lot easier. In our market, it is just tight, especially back then. You might be having 3 to 5 a week. But if you're doing it consistently, the 3 to 5 turns into 50 very quickly because you're not converting them all. You don't pick up the phone, get the appointment, get the listing. You have to just keep compounding them. But if you do anything consistently for 90 days, you'll turn around and realize, wow, I've got multiple listings. And then it really grows and grows and grows. Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
Well, I'm going to leave you guys with an ask. If you know anybody in the industry or even anybody outside of the industry, any people that have maybe like written a book or are great entrepreneurs in their field, we would love advice and introductions for speakers for Empower. So we want to make sure that we are bringing you the best content every week. We know that your time is valuable. And so please, please, please feel free to reach out to Anna and I of anybody that you would recommend that maybe would want to come on and speak for 30 minutes on a Wednesday. Okay.
I love it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Annie, I'm headed to Pinehurst at lunchtime today. I'll text you, see what you're up to. I got 2 meetings down there. Rough way to spend a Wednesday. I don't know how I'll do it, how I'll survive.